Hello, and welcome to this segment of our series on what it means to be Catholic. I am Father Keith Labove, and I have been given the opportunity to speak to you during this month of September on the topic of faithful citizenship. As we move toward the fall elections, it is not my goal to tell you how to vote, nor is it my goal to endorse anyone or anything except the gospel of our Lord Jesus Christ and the social teaching of the Catholic Church. It is my hope that these principles will help you in forming your own conscience as a guide for your involvement in the political process. Today I would like to speak of the importance of building up the common good. To do that, I would like to go back to 1963, when Pope John XXIII issued the encyclical Pacem in Terris, or Peace on Earth. In the early paragraphs of that letter, Pope John offered a striking description of the fundamental human rights necessary to a life lived with dignity. The listing goes on for a number of paragraphs. It includes such fundamentals which we would expect, such as life itself, as well as food, clothing, and shelter. But he also speaks of a right to medical care, to education, to rest, and necessary social services. Beyond that, he speaks of other things, such as religious freedom and freedom of speech, as well as the opportunity for dignified work and a just wage, and much more. At the end of this rather comprehensive list, he goes on to speak of responsibilities that mirror these rights. For example, it is not enough to have a right to work. One must fulfill one's responsibility to provide a day's work in return for a day's wage. A right to health care mirrors a duty to care for one's own health and well-being, etc. This correspondence between rights and duties goes to the very heart of the Church's understanding of the dignity of the human person. Now from there, the good Pope John recognizes that these rights and duties are enjoyed and fulfilled in the midst of society. Community and relationships with others are absolutely essential to our understanding of the human person. While the family is the most fundamental building block of society, there are many other kinds of relationships, locally and nationally, that impact the well-being of the human person. This basic understanding of the human person in the midst of society, with God-given rights and duties, leads us to an understanding of the purpose of the state. Civil government, with all its offices and functions, exists to build up what the Church calls the common good. This common good is understood as the sum total of social conditions which allow people, either as groups or as individuals, to reach their fulfillment more fully and more easily. The common good is those social conditions which provide for people's rights to be respected and allows them to carry out their duties as human persons. Building up this common good is the purpose of government. You can see how important this idea of the common good will be for those seeking to practice faithful citizenship. On the one hand, each and every one of us is called to build up the common good through our own actions. We do that by respecting the rights of others and by living up to our own duties and responsibilities. One of the ways in which we as a society build up the common good is by establishing forms of government. Civil institutions, from the local school board to Congress and the President, are the means we use together to build up the common good. So, for example, the government has a duty to promote and protect the family. This is true not just because the family is an essential building block of society. The family is also essential to the dignity and well-being of each and every individual. Here we begin to see that the individual human person does not exist to serve the government. Quite to the contrary. The government exists to serve the human person living in society. Likewise, the government must promote peace, since violence in all its shapes and forms is so destructive to the common good. When war creates refugees and violent crime shutters people in their homes, the dignity of human persons is trampled upon. Building up the common good means respecting freedom of speech and freedom of religion, since these are essential to the well-being of the person, of the family, and of the community. We carry our concern for the common good into the voting booth when we ask the question, does this position or candidate or law advance the cause of all people in reaching their own fulfillment? So, we reject policies and platforms that fail to protect innocent human life. We do not tolerate attitudes that target minorities or national groups, denying them the benefits of society on the basis of their race or religion. We embrace policies that promote education for all, and we reject policies that would ravage the environment to enhance corporate profit. We close today with the reminder that the common good calls for the fulfillment of not just some, but all. No one may be excluded from pursuing their own fulfillment in society. The human dignity of each and every person must be respected. When government and political leaders fail at building up the common good, they fall short of their primary purpose for existing. Next time, we will explore more deeply what it means to respect human dignity.